Hello friends, welcome you all to another video, and today we are going to learn symbolism as a literary and artistic movement in the unit number 1 terms or literary concept of paper number 5 literary criticism. So as you can see the definition of symbolism from the Britannica.com, that symbolism, a loosely organized literary and artistic movement that originated with a group of French poets in the late 19th century and spread to painting and the theater and influenced the European and American literature of the 20th century to very varying degrees. So that is the definition of the Britannica.com. So I'm not going to read out these things. You can yourself, you can go to Britannia.com and read all the things. So before we understand symbolism, let me tell you what is symbol. So if you think about the symbol in the Buddhist sense, then a symbol is anything which signify something else. In this in this sense, all words are symbols. But if you think about literature and especially criticism, the term symbol is applied only a word or phrase that signifies an object or event which in its turn signifies something or suggests a range of reference beyond itself. So that is called as a symbol. So symbols are conventional or public. Thus the cross or the red, white and blue and the good shepherd are terms that refer to symbolic objects of which the further significance is determined within a particular culture. So poets like of us use conventional symbols, as well as some poets they also use private or personal symbols. For example, the general association of peacock with the pride and of an eagle with the heroic individual, or the rising sun with the birth and the setting sun with the death. So these are the symbols. So there are variety of symbols and we are not going to see about the what is symbol. So I hope that you people have got what is symbol. So let's start with the symbolism. So various poets of romantic period including novelists and Holderlin in Germany. So actually as I have read it, actually it started in Germany and in France also, and then it spread. So especially in Germany, and Shelley, P.B. Shelley in England often used private symbols in their poetry. Shelley, for example, repeatedly made symbolic use of objects such as the morning and evening star, a boat moving upstream, winding caves, and the conflict between a serpent and an eagle. William Blake, however, exceeded all his romantic contemporaries in his recourse to a persistent and sustained symbolism. That is, a coherent system composed of a number of symbolic elements, both in his relic poems and his long prophetic or epic poems. In 19th century America, a symbolist procedure was a prominent element in the novels of Nathaniel Hawthorne and Herman Melville, the prose of Emerson and Thoreau, and the poetic theory and practice of Poe. These writers derived the mode in large part from the native Puritan tradition of typology. In the uses of literary historian, however, symbolist movement designates specifically a group of French writers as I have mentioned and you can see on Britannica website. So beginning with the Charles Baudelaire, his poem Fleurs du Mal, which was published in 1857, and including such latter poets as Arthur Rimbaud, Paul Valéry, Stephanie Malumon, and Paul Valle. Baudelaire based the symbolic mode of his poems in part on the example of American Edgar Allan Poe, but especially on the ancient belief in correspondences, the doctrine that there exist inherent and systematic analogies between the human mind and the outer world, and also between the material and the spiritual worlds. As Baudrillard put this doctrine as everything form, movement, number, color, perfume in the spiritual as in the natural world is significant, reciprocal, converse, correspondent. The techniques of the French symbolist who exploited an order of private symbols in a poetry of rich suggestiveness rather than explicit signification had an immense influence throughout Europe, and especially in the 1819 and later, in England and America, on poets such as Arthur Symons and Ernest Dowson, as well as W.B. Yeats, Ezra Pound, Dylan Thomas, Hart Crane, E. Cummings, and Wallace Stevens. Major symbolist poets in Germany are Stephen George and Rainer Maria Reich. The modern period, in the decades after World War I, was a notable era of symbolism in literature. Many of Many of the major writers of the period exploit symbols which are in part drawn from religious and esoterical traditions and in part invented. Some of the works of the age are symbolist in their settings, their agents, and their actions, as well as in the objects they refer to. Instances of precisely symbolic procedure occur in relics, as its Byzantium poems, Dylan Thomas' series of sonnets, Ultrawise by Old Light, in longer poems, Hart Crane, The Bridge, T.S. Eliot, The Wasteland, Wallace Stevens, The Comedian, As the Later Sea, and in novel, James Joyce, Finnegan's Wake, William Faulkner, The Sound and the Fury. So, guys, I hope that you understood the symbolism, and for I'm going to also paste the notes very soon on our Google Classroom, and you can also visit the britannia.com and read all these things which just I have discussed with you. So thank you for watching, and we will see in the next lecture.